Hello and welcome back to Older Blues. I'm your host, the one and only Monk Crusade. Today we're playing as the Withered Dogs. So yeah, get on with this. We're ghouls. And we're gonna go down the Captain Zhang's revolutionary victory. Withered Dogs. Old Dog has had a hard life. Peace seemed out of the question even before the Great War came. One old dog, centuries ago, before the bombs fell, Old Dog was already a grizzled soldier having seen enough of war. From fighting for the last oil field in the Middle East to trying to keep the peace in Europe as NATO collapsed, to fighting in the jungles of southern China. He fought for his country until one fine day in 2075, when they told him his time was up. Too old to keep fighting, time to retire. They said, go get a nice little house in the suburbs. Maybe a hobby. They said, bah. He always figured he wouldn't know what to do with himself when that time came. But for 2 years he tried to make something out of his little house in Colorado, a home. Find something to do with his time, and then the bombs dropped. For a time, Old Dog felt back in his element. Chaos Central Denver couldn't quite reach his house on the edge of the city. But he did his damnedest thing to keep order among survivors. In time he noticed he wasn't getting nearly as old or as weak as the army, though. In fact, he never felt better. His looks left something to be desired, though, as ghoulification stole what was left of his once rugged face. But Old Dog didn't care. He kept fighting on, and built himself a nice little unit. A village even on the edge of Dog City. The ghouls were the only one of the factions scavenging claims in the city, and the people weren't always kind about their appearance, but they got on well enough. It was a messy life, but Old Dog kinda liked that. And for a while he was happy, and then the hangdogs showed up. I had to leave the war, but the war wouldn't leave me. Pushed out by the hangdogs. Life in Denver wasn't perfect for the city of ghouls, but it was a hell of a lot better than before the dog-worshipping nutjobs showed up. The hangdogs. When the hangdogs showed up, the Dog City was mostly a peaceful place. Violence between scavs was limited by the claim system. The hangdogs clearly didn't want to, but played along, biding their time until the perfect moment came. Their chance to claim it all. Almost 20 years ago, a giant robot looking for some lost prisoner came through the place, tearing a path of destruction through Dog City and throwing the entire system into chaos. Snarls like thunder, the chief of the hangdogs at the time was killed by the robot's rampage, putting his incompetent coward of a son in charge, but the boy lacked his father's strength and let loose the hangdogs and their dogs in the chaos, pushing out every other tribe to try to stake their claim in the city, including the ghouls. Despite his efforts, Old Dog couldn't hold them off forever, and eventually he was forced to flee north with the rest of Denver's ghouls. Filthy bastards stole what most we had, but not our fight. Pushed out Dog City, the land north of Denver was never very prosperous. The new plague outbreak in Denver before the war caused a massive flight from the region. And the massive outbreak in Nebraska saw almost the entire state cut off from the world. But when Old Dog and the Denver ghouls arrived, they found it was not as empty as the wasteland believed. During the Great War, Denver had become a hub of civil unrest, and as many saw its Chinese American citizens imprisoned by the monolithic warden program, trapped in insta-pens to prevent any subversive activity. But under the warden's watchful eye, Captain Zhang and his submarine crew were able to operate, stirring up further unrest and recruiting more and more prisoners to their side. When the bombs came from their own country, they took cover in an unfinished vault, surviving as immortal ghouls. By the time the refugees from Denver arrived, the Chinese ghouls had already built a sizable town around the old vault. Understanding their shared plight as ghouls, Zhang allowed the Dog City ghouls to stay, and soon they became a majority in the region. Many of them still consider Old Dog their de facto leader. Each day more ghouls are swayed by Zhang's passionate speeches and promises of a communist utopia. Ghouls of Colorado, your future is in your hands. The Baggers return. Years ago, shortly after the robot rampage, a bunch of soldiers and scientists from Colorado squatted in the wastes outside Boulder. Now that they've returned, they're causing quite a stir in the region. And then there's these little assholes. Nope, there wasn't little in there. And then there's these assholes. And then the Baggers. Jesus fucking Christ. Can't you people leave me alone? Old Dog had had enough of this shit. It had barely been a few months since the NCR expedition, or baggers as the people came to call them, started pouring into the region. The ghoul lands had never seen a fair scare of refugees so far, but this was different. These were smooth skins, soldiers and scientists waltzing like they owned the city, keeping the locals at arm's length, renaming the local towns after their president, setting up a fort. Any claims this was a temporary expedition was bullshit. Old Dog knew their game. He had been in their shoes enough to know these were colonists, and the moment their home country showed up, they'd sell Colorado to them on a silver platter, and he wasn't having any of it. I know a few good ghouls to count on when this goes hot. Zhang's defense. Zhang knows the war is coming to the powder keg in the north, but believes that they should emulate strategies of the Soviet Union century ago, and dig in while the baggers burn themselves out on a two-front war, and only attack when victory is absolutely guaranteed. Preparing for the powder keg. The clock is ticking on the powder keg, and one question remains. Once the war is over, who's gonna be in charge of all of it? Question of command. The fuse is quickly burning out on the powder keg. And with war on the horizon, an important question has consumed the Wither Dogs. Strategic plans aside, who shall have the ultimate command over their forces? Old Dog has much more experience with aggressive attack, having dislodged insurgents in the European collapse and cleared out trenches in the Philippines. Zhang, on the other hand, has been trained and practiced on fortified nearly any location, and using stealth and subterfuge to prevent the advance of enemy forces. With both constantly butting heads, one must be chosen to hold command over the other, at least temporarily. Zhang is right, we cannot take needless risks. Chinese guns. For the war, the Chinese infiltrators began stockpiling a large collection of weapons to arm dissidents with. Unable to get shipments from their homeland, the stockpile was mainly made of whatever American guns could be scrounged from the chaos and riots. Deploy the paratroopers. Without a proper air force, the Chinese paratroopers haven't been able to train for airdrops in centuries. But that doesn't mean they've slacked off on the rest of their training. It's time to deploy them on the field on foot if they must. Fortify the border. One of the only things Zhang and Old Dog can agree on is that we need to build fortification on the borders with the baggers. While there might not be enough material to build bunkers on the entire border, so we'll have to fortify key points and pursue flexible defense. Deep infiltration tactics. For the war, no one knew how many infiltrators were in Colorado, except perhaps Zhang himself. Even now, there are old loyalists embedded in the lanes claimed by the baggers and the luminous ones, all ready to report movements and perform sabotage as needed. Defense of the people. In any war, morale is key, and it is important to remember why we are fighting at all. Everything we must do must be for the sake of the people, even if it distracts from the war effort. We must have plans to ensure that every non-combatant is safe and secure, and that everything they have an escape plan if we should fail. The war approaches. It's only a matter of time before the powder keg ignites, and it's time to put our plans into action and brace for the explosion. Ready for war, the powder keg is burning down to its limits, and there's little else that we can be done to prepare. Old Dog Zhang and all the other weathered dogs of the Houndlands can do nothing but wait now. Let's hope it was enough to survive. I guess the powder keg's here. Where the baggers go, and we're taking it all because we're also at war with them. So if anything, it'll just screw them over. There the luminous ones goes. Victory, the last shot for the northern Colorado rang out today, as ghouls never stood a chance against our superior discipline. But we're also ghouls. A wind passes along the edge of the great Rocky Mountains. It carries away the smell of gunpowder off of the breeze. But the stench of death and decay remains. It will remain until folk cleared away to build something better. But that's the hard part, isn't it? Oh, I think I was supposed to do these. Victory at last! Against the odds, we managed to take out both the baggers and the luminous ones. But without a common enemy, old dog and Zhang know it's time to settle who's in charge once and for all. Ghouls are victorious against the superior resources of the baggers and the zealous crusaders of the luminous ones. It was the common ghoul of the Howland, the so-called withered dogs that managed to survive and outlast. It was a close call, but peace has been restored to the region for now. But one issue remains unresolved. Old Dog always knew Zhang would be a problem, and in the wake of the baggers' defeat, it was finally time to settle who was in charge. It's simple, isn't it? Your country, your traditions, an election, direct, absolute. You'll let the will of the people decide who will lead them. Yeah, something like that. I know they'll make the right choice and not at the point of election something that would take away your vote after all. The two ghouls shook hands, even as they stared daggers at each other. When tallying was done, every ghoul in the Howlands had cast their vote and the results were undeniable. Captain Zhang to a new socialist future. And yeah, we finally got Captain Zhang Wei. Oh, we didn't get to read this because it automatically. The carrion of the old dog clique wrapped themselves in a false revolution, plotting to revise the line and restore exploitation. But Captain Zhang rose in the people's hour, red banner aloft, and shattered the schemes with proletarian steel. Let none be deceived by the counter-revolution. Still nests its loyal face, yet beneath the shining light of Zhang thought, Dog City marches true socialism. Oh yeah, we're on some Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, Zhangism. That's a fucking mouthful. A rousing speech for Zhangism. Captain Zhang was always a true believer in socialism. While in his country had its failings, so did every other nation before the Great War. But any ghoul who lives long enough comes to see that you get any out of this world what you put into it. And every short-sighted, greedy decision you make will come back to burn you in the end. You cannot poison the soil tomorrow and expect crops to grow. It is time for ghouls to become the vanguard of the revolution as only they can. Are ghouls not the ideal vanguards? Ghouls of the Howland? Have you ever wondered why bad things happen? Why did the world end? Why did ghouls go feral? Why must the war still rage? Why does poverty exist? Well, I've come to tell you there's a simple answer to these shortcomings. Short-sightedness. Only men live long enough to care about what happens tomorrow, next week, maybe a few years down the line. But decades, centuries, generations later, the common man does not care. He never has. Consequences of his actions have always been self-centered. Greed are too often too far to put away for him to see, to ever care about. He could despoil the planet's resources, swindle his neighbor with nonsense money, and vote for a war that would condemn his children's world, all without care or worry. And this is the short-sightedness that led men to destroy the world. But we ghouls, we know better. We may have been the common men once, but now we live with the consequences of our own actions. We live each day in this horrible world we have built on our own decisions. How many of you have scorned or scanned an ghoul only for them to return the favor decades later? How many of you have chosen a lot of today, but none tomorrow, only to find yourself hungry when tomorrow never ends? How many still dream of the world before the bombs? With this in mind, I must ask you, who among you is ready to change their ways? I may have heard nasty things about socialism, but I believe anyone who lives long enough will come to see its virtues. It's time for us to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. To let go of the selfishness and lift up the neighbors to build a better world. To build a utopia, not just for the future generations, but one that we ourselves might live to see. I cannot promise an easy journey, but if you let go of ego and find your place in the greater good, I can promise that it will be worth it. 3 cheers for Zhang, father of the new revolution. A new Red Army. The powder keg was a trial for the ghouls of Colorado, but now the war is over, it's time to formalize our forces. Chinese spy, Union volunteer, American ghouls, and mercenaries are fine enough in an emergency. But now it's time to bring all together into a cohesive force to defend the people of Colorado. Our own power armor. The Red Shift Power Armor project was a moderate success in producing schematics for a fully Chinese power armored suit, and copies were disseminated to infiltrators in hopes that they could be rapidly assembled and used to entrench uprisings. The suits may not have been as advanced as American designs, but with a few changes they will be capable of protecting our elite forces in the field. Restoring the Union. When Old Dog arrived from Denver, he and his men displaced the Union from their compound, scattering them to the wind. Although they are not ghouls, they fought alongside us, and they are great experts on metalworking and salvage. It's time to honor our debt by restoring them to their compound, so they can gather and pull their knowledge gain for this time as our allies. Forgiving the beggars. The beggars were imperialists for a capitalist state, following every corrupt footsteps of the United States, but what alternatives were they presented with? Some of them, from a place called Xi, were to the west, at least have enough imagination to envision a world driven by science, not profit. It is time to open our arms to those willing to support our cause. The glowing ones, the luminous ones, are a dangerous cult spreading ideals of the divinity of radiation, and the ascension of all ghoul kind. While a nation of immortals may sound enticing, the costs are too high for Zhang to permit them to continue spreading their faith. It's time to take these cultists and channel their devotion away from superstition, so they can use their intuitive understanding of radiation to better the world, not poison it. Okay, and there the glow bugs went. Rebuilding the Houndlands. The Houndlands are a land that was devastated even before the bombs, wrecked by plague and mass migrations. Little value remains here, but making sure to optimize every resource and assign every ghoul to a job, we make it livable. Remove the Eastern mercenaries, greedy capitalists, morally bankrupt killers, and willing to sell out the most heinous of imperial tyrants, the Iron Alliance to the east, will never be able to coexist with the ghouls of the Houndlands for long. But the longer we wait, the larger their armies grow. It's time to take decisive action to secure our eastern flank. Now this is actually a little fucking legion I can kind of fear. Okay, and there they went. The secrets of the hidden vault. The Shanghai wasn't the only place the infiltrators called home before the war. In the north of Colorado, a vault that was almost finished construction was left behind when the outbreak depopulated the area. It became a center of operations for spies and sympathizers alike, a place to stock our weapons and house captives we rescued from instapins. While the lack of door means it couldn't save its occupants from ghoulification, the vault remains a valued refuge from the dangers of the waste above. Study the dome's architecture. Boulder Dome was designed to be a self-sustaining city of the future, resistant to nuclear weapons, plagues, and even serving as a prototype for colonies in space. Clever man would seek treasures inside of the dome, but a wise man knows the dome itself has much to teach us. Oh yeah, we own Boulder, and therefore we own the dome. And we're deploying our first power armor platoon. It's not even American-made power armor either, for the most part. It's Chinese power armor. It's our own. Okay. And here we go. I kind of got distracted and forgot to read these. Resetting the Zax. The information stored on the boulder Zax could no doubt help us. It's simply too far decayed for scientists to decipher, and we are too late to possibly save its intelligence. Our only option is to force it to output, print all of its data, and reformat the entire machine. It takes centuries to decipher all of this code it outputs by hand. But there's one thing ghouls have, it's time. What we discovered once can be discovered again. We need the Zax and more than whatever it knows. A greater leap forward. The backyard industry was, to the shame of China, a failure. The great leap forward. But China was trying to build concrete and steel mills using the technology of the 60s. But the ingenuity and technology of the wasteland might just make it work this time. Well, we have a fully automated option now. Silver Star City, march on, City of Silver. Zhang has brought new industry, connected you to your old self in the world, and shown you the greatest mind and a brighter path of future. May this shining city be an example to all the wasteland. I think we may actually just legitimately be the only hope in the wasteland, because now Free Vegas is a thing. They're led by the king. And the king is nowhere close to House. I mean, Vault City's there, but they're too busy trying to do their whole eugenics thing, and they're kind of corrupt because they're teaming up with New Reno. Center place of the revolution. We're still discovering new rooms and chambers as we analyze Boulder Dome. But over the past few months, our presence has become second nature to the ghouls of Boulder. The technology flowing out is already revolutionizing the way people live in the Houndlands. It has become the beating heart of the revolution in Colorado. You know, I can already see Caesar's soldiers, trying to take the helmet off of a so-called valiant fighter that has, been a thorn in their side for months, only to pull it up and realize there ain't no one in this. It's just empty. There's nothing in here. There's no person in this suit of power armor. Fully automated. Simple automation is necessary for achieving true socialism, as no society that requires drudgery to survive can truly know freedom from want. We must analyze every task, find every efficiency, and refine our methods until our machines are practically making themselves. Only then we can rest. Editor and me, pull out the image of anime girl Lodzi. Yeah, that. We're just doing that. The fucking withered march over here. Iron comrades, robots, glorious robots. They work without tire. Toiling without question, they serve with nothing but loyalty to their supervisors. But it's as simple to always remember their importance to our society and respect the work that our iron comrades do for us, especially as we expand their ranks. Goddamn right we're expanding their ranks, we're sending them to the front lines. Yeah, and I just kind of thought about this. This path is... Actually, no. Earlier I said it. But this path is just Fallout Lodzi. Or just a long march, but in Fallout. Okay, here we go. Yeah, stupid cultists, they should have known better. Interesting things are happening in the Canada. What? The Stoon Dandies. The Stoon fucking Dandies are the unifier of this region. Okay, into the parish. Yeah, you'll get that little worthless piece of land. Let me take the rest. It's only fair that a robot liberates Robot City. Now we're against Solanius's Legion, which that's a lot better than Caesar's Legion. Are we at war with all of them, or oh, I mean I was planning on going into the rest of them. So might as well at this point. that ratio. Only 7k dead on our side and 47k on theirs. Okay, there they go. Okay, so off topic of the video, I just right now found out that YouTube rolled out their auto dubbing feature to me, but they've just put all the languages on 2 videos and then the rest just 2. And I'm just sitting over here, you know, Mr. English speaker, you know, listening to the AI audio dubbed Hebrew audio track, and I'm just like, speak your shit, me, speak your shit, because I don't know what he's saying. I'm pretty sure I know what he's saying, but I don't understand him. But so that's interesting. So I guess this is where we're gonna have to end the video off at, because the game won't quit crashing. So, kind of disappointed about that. You know how it goes. So, stay alright. Alright. Bye.